Well, I never expected we'd be seeing Nichol Kessinger, the mistress of Chris Watts, on video in 2025. So apparently some super sleuth really found her. Now, I've been ignoring over the years all these Nichol Kessinger sightings. She was seen here, she was seen there. And you see the photos and you look at them and you're like, I don't know if that's really her. This one I really believe is her due to the circumstances, due to the research I've done, but I'm not going to dox her. I'm not going to dox Nichol Kessinger. She looks different, but if you study her features, it really looks like her. Plus the circumstances. She's at a funeral, the funeral of one of her friends' moms. Now, I'm not going to dox her. I'm not going to say the state. I mean, she might not even live in this state where the funeral was held. Out west, that's all I will say. Because, I know some people are out there and they're really still angry with Nichol Kessinger. First of all, I've got to give thanks to Seeking the Truth with Dave. That's where I saw this video. And then, of course, I had to dig and find the funeral home, find the original video. I watched the entire funeral. I wanted to see the sightings of Nicole, the way she walked and everything. And, of course, she rushes in eerily right before the casket is brought in. And, of course, I'm doing slow-mo. I'm zooming in. I'm studying and everything. One thing I did notice, she was not wearing a wedding ring. I'm looking at every detail. Of course, that doesn't mean she's not married. She could be married. Some people just don't like to wear jewelry. And this funeral was held January 16th, 2025 at 2:45 p.m. until 3:50 p.m. So part of me is thinking, you know what? She's a pretty good friend. It's showing Nicole is a good friend to come out and support her friend and basically risk being seen. You never know how crazies are going to react. A lot of people don't trust Nichol Kessinger. Some people, it runs the gamut. Some people find her relatively innocent. Maybe they believe her story about Chris Watts pretending to be a man on his way to divorce. Just being an innocent little woman who's thinking she's messing around with this man about to get divorced. That's about the most fair assessment I can say of Nicole. It runs the gamut to people where, maybe like me, a little bit in the middle, shady. We don't like her interviews. We don't find her very trustworthy. We didn't find her caring enough about Shanann Watts and her 3 children losing their lives at the hands of Chris Watts. So a lot of us who studied so much of her interviews, and I can link to those below, the whole playlist, well, the stuff that's still on YouTube, just of how shady Nicole was and just not empathetic enough. It feels like she just didn't care enough. I think that's what a lot of people feel. And there, of course, are other people way on the other end where they believe she gave Chris Watts an ultimatum. It's either Shanann or me. Or some people believe she was even there, had a hand in the crime. I don't go that far. Whereas I believe Nichol Kessinger may very well have given Chris Watts an ultimatum, and maybe in his sick mind, he took it as, I better get rid of my family and my wife, instead of just divorcing his wife, Shanann. I don't know. What do you think? I guess I'm going on the inside. I think it's good that she came out in public. I didn't hear Nichol Kessinger speak at all. I just see her rushing in, and maybe she's not aware of the camera at first. And she's rushing in and has a program in her hand. Her hair looks similar to me. And she has a purse in her right arm. And I just see no ring. And she's just walking and rushing. And then I only caught her, I believe, a little bit at the end, moving her hair out of her way, if that's really her. And maybe she's a little aware of the camera there, maybe not. I don't know. But my point is, whatever happened, whatever truly happened with Nichol Kessinger's role in that entire case, I feel she should be able to go out and not be bothered by anyone. Who knows what the truth is? The Lord knows, and vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And that's the way I feel. I take it. No matter a person's ire against someone else, or if they're thinking, oh, you did the worst and you got away with it. That doesn't mean anyone should engage in vigilante justice, take the law into their own hands. I understand with certain cases when there's some obvious, you see those cases where it's like a child is harmed and the parent goes in the courtroom and attacks the suspect. Part of me just can't blame that parent, but in this instance, it was just, there were so many questions. People think Nicole got away with stuff she shouldn't have. I don't know the truth. Only God knows the truth, and we have to leave room for God. I mean, even in the situation of like O.J. Simpson, whereas people thought he got away with murder and he tried to go back to Florida or go to Florida and live, and some people would hang out with him, some people wouldn't, and he got a lot of hate. I understand that. But I mean, at least Chris Watts is in prison. He's serving out all these life sentences. That's good. Nicole, should she be allowed to go on and live her life? Yes, I guess is the answer. I mean, there's one thing that's obvious that people are talking about. They're talking about Nicole's obvious weight gain. And believe me, I have no room to talk about anyone. My weight has been all over the place. So I know what it's like to gain weight. And especially if she's an emotional eater. And in a way, it's like a mask for her. In a way, even though she was still recognized and spotted, it's a mask of sorts. And I was thinking when Nicole and Chris, were in the heat of their affair and they were working out and Chris was losing weight. And remember, Nicole was a little bit chunkier in her older photos we saw, one with her dog. So she was a little bit heavier, not real heavy. And she had lost weight when she was with Chris. And that's kind of what they bonded over too, in a way, in a horrible way, just bonds of inequity. But they bonded over the eating and the macros and the working out. And I can show you, I can go through your macronutrients and all that stuff, Nicole used to say. And they bonded over that, being very fit and active. So now when she's left that behind, and I don't know if she's in a different state, I don't know where the heck she lives, which is good. Because again, I'm not doxing her. I'm not saying the name of the funeral or anything. The only thing that came out was the fact that this was Nicole's friend, obviously a good friend. It's the funeral of her friend's mom, I meant to clarify. This is the same friend who she met with on Friday, August 10th, 2018. Apparently, this friend, I'll just call her name is Danielle. I won't give the rest. Danielle had arrived in town to spend the weekend with Nicole. I remember it way back then because some people thought she was saying like Daniel, but she was saying Danielle, I do believe a woman's name. And then supposedly Nicole and Danielle had an evening out that Friday that ended with cocktails and taking an Uber home. So this is obviously a friend who is stuck with Nicole and she's stuck by their side. And at this point, yeah, I do believe she should be able to go out and about and it's almost been 7 years. I can't believe that. So it'll be 7 years this August since that horrible, horrible crime happened. And I do believe Nicole should be able to go out and get married, have children. I just hope in my heart of hearts that she feels regret and remorse. If for anything she lied about. You know how she claimed she didn't really know Chris and Shanann were still together, and we saw all that where she was like searching for them, Googling them on their Facebook pages. There's no way she didn't know Shanann and Chris were still married and not necessarily on their way to divorce. Did she give Chris an ultimatum? I don't know. But again, with the weight gain, maybe she has not worked out as hard. Gaining the weight kind of gives her a different look. Maybe she's not readily recognizable. Maybe people at the funeral knew who she was. Maybe most of them didn't. I do believe she should be able to go on with her life, get married, be out and about without anyone harming her or screaming at her or stalking her or anything. It's just something I guess she'll have to live with, maybe being recognized. I don't know her new name. I didn't hear her speak at this funeral at all, but she did show up for her friend, and that's one thing that's a good thing. It's just, we don't know. We don't know Nicole's role in anything. And she'll just have to live the rest of her life out knowing what she knows. She knows inside anything she truly lied about. She knows that inside. And that's what she'll have to reconcile with God. It's not up to me or anyone else to, hold her accountable. We've looked into her history. A lot of people think she's gotten away with a lot of stuff. Is she in her own mental prison of sorts? Has she confessed her sins and just told the truth to God? At least I hope so. But I just did not expect to see her there. I do hope she's able to get out and live her life in an honest way with integrity, and I hope she's regretful of what she's been through and changed her ways. But not seeing a wedding ring, I'm wondering, will she ever get married now? And I'm trying to think of how old she probably is now. It looks like Nicole will be turning 37 in a few months. Just still in her 30s, I'm assuming. And I'm just wondering, if she's not married, is she with a guy? Does she have a boyfriend? Or is she able to find someone who's willing to put up with, if they're out in public at a restaurant, somebody might come up to her and, scream at her? Kind of like, I guess, being with Casey Anthony, just in the center, someone in the center of the spotlight. And the public in general believes, oh, you got away with murder, or you got away with this. And just that vitriol, just being with a person like that. I wonder, would a guy be willing to put up with that? And if and when Nicole ever gets married, I don't know if she's had children or not. If she has children, will she continually think about, wow, what if some little Nichol Kessinger came along and, influenced my husband and, had an affair with him and maybe encouraged him indirectly, not knowingly or directly to, become a family annihilator. I wonder, she's got to think of all these things. She's got to hate seeing her own behavior on those old interrogation videos and everything. So I just wonder, but I guess it's good to see she's doing okay and hopefully she's safe. It's got to be hard being at the center of such a horrible crime case and being such an unliked figure because she put herself in that role in terms of just not really caring, to me, about Shanann's plight and the girls' plight, even though she cried for them and supposedly didn't know as much as I really think she knew. Let's just say that. Anyway, let's close with Exodus 34:14. Do not worship any other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. So what do you think about this video? I suspect it'll happen more and more. If she came out for her friend's funeral, I don't know how often she comes out. I don't know what her line of work is, but you can't avoid cameras everywhere. So what do you think? Should she come out more often? Should she even do interviews? Should she write a book? Should she finally tell the God's honest truth about what went down, or just kind of still stay in seclusion? I don't know. I'm just surprised to see this video. And again, I'm not linking to it. I'm not doxing people. I don't want the world just like coming at her. Like I always say, the Lord knows what happened and His will be done. Thanks for watching.